I had a comment come up a couple times, and this particular viewer said, I just really still don't understand why you're giving up what you are right here. First of all, I'm not giving it up. I'm not selling my house. It's my home. It's homesteaded. It's my house. It's got homestead protection. Pretty important. And I built this home with my own two hands. Built it when I was in my 20s. Yeah, my 20s and my early 30s. Never had a mortgage. Never borrowed any money to build it. Is it a perfect home? Far from it. Far from a perfect home. But it's been a good home. It's been paid for. Taxes have been low on it. I didn't worry about trying to make it super fancy outside just to keep up with those Joneses, whoever the Joneses are. So no, I'm not giving up my home. Will I rent part of my place out? Yeah, I will, for that income coming in. Absolutely. The security of having someone inside my home when I'm abroad, absolutely, no problem. Keeps it maintained, keeps the income coming in, and it's just being smart instead of it just sitting there unoccupied always. As well as I have a rental right here across the drive, so you have that additional income that comes in. So no, I'm not giving up my home. If you're wondering why I'm getting rid of so many other things, well, when you have so much stuff like that, you don't own it, it owns you. So you find yourself viciously working to take care of these non-essential things. So then I guess it also comes down to happiness. Where are you happy at? Well, I found myself really happy in the Philippines. That's where I'm really happy at. It has a home feel to me. It feels like home. There's people there I love. There's people here I love, but there's people there I love. And the difference between the people that I love here and I love there is the people that I love here. Americans are so busy in their own lives, you don't hardly see them. You know, I may go my whole time here that we come back to the United States and not even see those people. But it's kind of funny because when I'm in the Philippines, I'm getting messages. Hey, when are you coming back home? We need to get together. We need to hang out. We need this and that. Then you get here and you don't see them, and you might eventually get a message saying, hey, we've just been so busy, this and that. And you know what? A year passes by and another year passes by, and tragedies strike, and those opportunities are forever missed. But in the Philippines, they're different. They are very oriented to hang out with each other and be around the people that you love, and you be around them. So there's always events and gatherings and parties and fiestas, and they will just show up and visit you, or you can just show up and visit them, and they will come visit you, and with happiness and gleam, you know. And so there is a big difference right there. We get aggravated with them in the Philippines sometimes because they're just not so, you know, just progressive and aggressive as we are here in the United States. They are working at a different speed. It's kind of like a transmission in an old truck. You know, they're working in granny gear and first gear, and we're working in fifth and sixth gear. You know, we're kicking it in overdrive. So what are we in such a hurry about? What's the rush? Maybe they have the right idea, that the most important thing is your family and your love and your forgiveness and all of those things right there that day. Not later, not 20 years down the road. Then, right then, because they know that time is precious. Those material things are not what makes life. And if you're giving up your life and you're working so hard to just pay for material things, and you don't have time for the love and family, you need to check yourself. Then there's change. Yep, change. And things have changed here. On my father's side of the family, on my grandmother, on her side of the family, My family's roots go back here as far back as Texas goes, you know, as far as back as the history of Texas goes, prior to it being part of the U.S. It was a point in time that everybody here was family. Everybody, all out for miles around, was family. Let's say back in those days, people had large families, like a lot still do in the Philippines. And you know, so you might have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 children. Part of those are going to be daughters. And you know, daughters are going to get married, and that brings in a new family name. And so you're going to have many daughters. Then they're going to have daughters, and they're going to get married, and it's going to bring in an additional family name. But you peel back those layers and go through it, it's all still family. It's still family. So you end up with a whole bunch of new names in the family, but it's still family. And that's the way we were here. And you would have outsiders come in, and they'd marry a daughter, and they'd whittle them off a piece of property, and here you can have this section over here and farm it and build you a house. And later on, then a new blood comes in, and over generations, a lot of new blood and new family names. But like I say, you go back to the core of it, it still was mostly just family. Dallas, at one point in time, where I'm at here, it's the major city near me. When you left our little town and you drove to Dallas, it seemed like a journey. There was nothing but open croplands, farmlands, you know, cattle, all that for a long ways. And you might dip through a couple tiny little communities. Just for a second, they were just like a blip in the side view mirror as you pass through going to Dallas. So now it's virtually no gap left in between the places. It is constant businesses and houses and projects and new roads and everything. Amazon, you know, all of these. It seems like Dallas is only that far away now. It brings the people out here further. They're looking for new, pristine, virgin land, and they want to be the first ones there, and they want to build brand new. Of course, they'll get in there and build brand new. 5 years later, they're bored with it. They want to go to the next hot spot. They leave it behind. It becomes a second owned home, a third owned home, a fourth owned home. Just now, I paused as a neighbor went by, hauling away, moving to Mississippi. He's lived here a year, 1 year. People for him, maybe 3 years. People for that, just a few years. It's a really nice $750,000 home now that has went through like 4 owners in its short period of time that it's been around. So our little town out here by me, it decided it needed to spread its wings out. Hear that airplane? That's another thing. Constant airplanes flying over now, constant. We'll talk about that in another video. Oh, we need to grab more land. We need to become a bigger town, a bigger city, and we need to spread out what we have control of, and how we can set rules and regulations and ordinances of what can be built and where it can be built, and proper utilities, and keep trailer parks out, and all these things. There goes his horses. He just took all his panels. Neighbor moving away, heading to Mississippi. New one's already coming in again. So it's coming all the way out here into the rural countryside where I'm at, way out. Because this is the only way they can grow. Because all the other sides of them already have little communities that incorporated townships all the way around them. And on the other side of us, we've already have other small communities that's already incorporated and established their little city halls. So our community, for the second time, is attempting to incorporate. The first time was probably 25 years ago or 30 years ago probably. And it was beat down back then. But a lot of those old farmers and people that were wanting to beat it down back then, they're not around to beat it down this time. It's coming. It's the lesser of two evils. So on November the 3rd, when we're running all our other elections, and the elections happening here as well, to incorporate this farmland. You see all this? It's all everywhere. And I have some pretty good swaths of land out here. It's going to be incorporated into a township. And they already have in place all their new rules and regulations and ordinances of what you can do. And the thing is that as much as I hate to see it, and think that, you know, I'd rather it incorporate here than the neighboring town take us in, because I don't want that. I'm really sad to see that immediately they're going to put rules on us, just like if we're inside an HOA subdivision. And now on my farmland, I'm going to be told all these things I can and can't have and do. Can't have an RV parked on your property no more than 90 days in a calendar year. Can't have a storage building smaller than 600 square feet. Your house has got to be 100 foot away off the road if you build a new structure. And these are the things they're shooting for. Not law yet, but this is what they're shooting for. We want to protect the farm community, but here's the animals you can't have. You can't have a lot smaller than 5 acres. It's really being catered to the rich man now. The rules go on and on. You can't have no erroneous old farm equipment, or you can't have even extra parts sitting around outside. So say like I got an old hay baler and I want a parts baler. As my old baler breaks down, I rob the parts off it. This is what they want. But we're going to protect the farming way of life is how they're selling this campaign. I only found out about it through the rumor mill. These are hard pills to swallow. I'm not leaving like escaping completely. I'm going to go spend part of my time where I can be stress-free, happy. Will I dissolve more here? Yeah, I will. I'll dissolve more here. I'm not getting rid of my home. Not getting rid of my house. Built that myself. Every nail, every screw. I worked for the money. I made the money. I bought the material. I built the house. Sometimes I sit up lights at night and worked outside, even building late at night because I had to work during the day. And never had a mortgage. Never had any of those stresses. And I want to keep it that way. But they're going to tax me out. And that's exactly what else they're doing. So I'm going to make another video and I'm going to let you all know what's happening on some Philippines things. I appreciate you listening. And maybe if you'll just sit back and think how it would be to be so deep-rooted in a place, that your family's so deep-rooted, and the ones that's left of you now are relics. We're relics in our own land, and we're strangers in our own land. And that's history of man all around the world, every country around the planet. With that, I'm going to close this out. I appreciate you hearing me out. God bless. Have a great day. Keep smiling. And remember, love your loved ones. Take time for them. All that material stuff, it don't matter.